Hello? Yeah. Is there anybody there? We're telling your followers that you've started a live video. Hello, Cat Ent 14 and 3 others. Hello! Hi. Hello. 11 others. Hello, 11 others. Shall we? How are you doing? You okay? Okay, I'm going to wait a minute or two because there's people. Thank you. Hello. It's so nice to see the love hearts. They look so pretty. Did I bring wine? Ta-da! Yes, in fact, I might have a sip right now. Hello, Adam. Hello, Celine. Hello. Hello, Nayan. Hey, Gracie. Hey, Rue. This is great. You're all here. You can't be watching Sherlock right now. You're supposed to be listening to me reading you a story. Press pause. All right. Okay, I'm going to... Lots of lovely hearts. Okay, I'm going to give a moment for the latecomers to arrive. And given that I am always late, I think it's only fair. Okay. This is our lovely book. This is a very short chapter, so I'm not going to take much of your time tonight. It's really, really short, so I'm tempted to do 2, but let's see how we go. When did I first read the Moomins? When I was a little girl, but not so very little. I was probably about 15, which is a shame because they're very good for little ones. Anyway, people want to go to bed. Shall we get on with it? Okay. Are you sitting comfortably? Then let's begin. Chapter 2, which is about stars with tails. Next day it was cloudy. The muskrat went out in the garden and lay in the hammock to think, and Moomin Papa wrote his memoirs in the sky blue room. Moomin Troll was hanging about at the kitchen door. Mama, he said, do you think the muskrat meant anything special when he mentioned those forebodings? I don't think he meant so very much, said Moomin Mama. Don't worry about it, dear. Perhaps he'd just got a chill in all that rain and felt a bit queer. Now run along with Sniff and collect some pears from the blue trees. Moomin Troll went, but he was very thoughtful and decided he would talk to the muskrat about it later. He and Sniff carried the longest ladder they could find up the hill. Here's a picture of them. Can you see them going up the hill? Are we going to my cave? Asked Sniff. Yes, answered Moomin Troll, later, but first we have to collect some pears for Mama. When they reached the biggest blue tree, they saw the silk monkey sitting up in the branches, waving at them. Hello, she screeched. What awful weather! My house is sopping wet, and the whole forest is beastly. Are you coming to hunt for crabs? We haven't time, said Moomin Troll. Mama is going to make some jam, and besides, we've got more important things to think about. Tell, said the silk monkey. I can't tell you except that something is going to happen, said Moomin Troll. Something dreadful and unnecessary that nobody knows much about, but there has been a strange feeling in the air lately. Ha ha, said the silk monkey. Very funny. Now shut up, said Moomin Troll, putting the ladder up against the blue tree, and try to be helpful for a change. It was great fun to pick those pears because you could throw them down as hard as you liked and they bounced off the ground like rubber balls. Moomin Troll and the other 2 picked and threw and shouted, and the pears hopped and bounced in all directions until the ground was covered with them. The silk monkey laughed till she nearly fell off the tree. That's enough, gasped Moomin Troll at last. We can't eat that much jam in a year. Now, we'll roll the whole lot down to the river. I'll stop them at the bridge. You stay here and take care of this end, Silk Monkey, and Sniff can keep an eye on the water transport. Roll the pears into the river, screamed Sniff excitedly. and he ran off to the river while the silk monkey rolled the pears one after another down the slope. In they plopped, swirled round in the current and bounced over the stones. Sniff ran here and there, poking them with a long stick, when they got caught up on their journey down to the bridge, where Moomintroll trapped them and stacked up a big pile on the bank. After a time, Moomin Mama came out of the house with a big gong. "Lunch time, children!" she cried. "Well," said Moomintroll as they came up the garden, "haven't we picked a lot?" "You certainly have," exclaimed Moomin Mama. "I've never seen so many pears." "Then can we take our lunch out?" said Moomintroll. "To a secret place we have." "Oh, please," entreated Sniff. "With lots of food so there's enough for the silk monkey. Also, could we have lemonade too?" "Yes, of course, dears," said Moomin Mama, and she wrapped up all kinds of good things and put them in a basket with an umbrella on top to be on the safe side. The weather was still dull and grey when they reached the cave. Moomintroll had been rather quiet on the way up, worrying about his pearls, and directly they had crept through the opening, he shouted out in alarm. "Someone has been here!" "In my cave!" screamed Sniff. "Wretched wretch!" The pearls, which they had left neatly arranged in rows, had been collected together in the middle of the floor in a pattern. "You might as well count them anyway," said Moomintroll to the silk monkey, who had joined them in the wood. "You're the treasurer." She counted them 4 times and then once more for luck, but she always got a different answer. "How many were there before?" said Moomintroll. "I can't remember," said the silk monkey, "but the answer was different every time I counted them then, too." "Oh," said Moomintroll. "Well, that must be right, I suppose. But I wonder who could have been here?" They sat looking gloomily at the pattern of pearls. "It does look like something," said Sniff at last. "A star, I think." "With a tail," said the silk monkey. Sniff looked suspiciously at her. "I suppose it wasn't you that did it," he said, for he remembered very well how the silk monkey had made her curly flourish, marking the mysterious path on all the tree trunks. "Well, it could have been me," she said, "but this time it happens to have been someone else." "It could have been anybody," said Moomintroll. "But never mind now, let's eat first." So they unpacked pancakes, sandwiches, bananas and lemonade from their basket and divided it all into 3 equal parts. Then there was silence for some minutes while they all munched happily. When everything was finished, they dug a hole in the sand and buried the paper and banana skins. And after that they dug another hole and buried the pearls. Then Moomintroll said, "Now I've eaten and thought and everything is a little clearer. This star with a tail must be either a warning or a threat. Perhaps somebody is angry with us for a reason. A secret society, for instance." "Do you think it's somewhere near?" asked Sniff, beginning to get anxious. "It might easily be angry with me, mightn't it?" "Yes, you especially," said Moomintroll. "That's very likely. Perhaps this is its cave you have discovered." Sniff went very pale and said, "Perhaps we should go home." Nobody took any notice of this, of course. They went out onto the ledge and looked at the sea instead. It was like a huge grey silk eiderdown with white flowers on it. The flowers were seagulls resting on the water with their heads pointing out to sea. Suddenly, the silk monkey began to laugh. "Look," she said, "those funny seagulls think they're embroidery. They've just formed themselves into a big star." "With a tail," exclaimed Moomintroll. Sniff began to tremble violently. Then he took to his heels and ran along the ledge, quite forgetting that he'd once been afraid of falling across the sand and off towards Moomin Valley. On the way, he stumbled over tufts of grass and roots, got entangled with branches, fell on his nose, splashed through a stream, and arrived in the valley at last, quite dizzy and exhausted. He shot like an arrow into Moomin House. "What is it now?" asked Moomin Mamma, who sat stirring the jam. Sniff crept very close to her and hid his nose in her apron. "A secret society is after me," he whispered. "It's coming to get me and—" "Not while I'm here," said Moomin Mamma. "Now, what about a nice saucepan to lick out?" "I daren't," whimpered Sniff. "Not now. Perhaps never." A little later on he said, "Well, perhaps just the edge, while I'm waiting." When Moomin Troll arrived, his mother's biggest jam pot was already full, and Sniff was just licking out the bottom of the saucepan. Said Moomin Troll. "Strange goings on." "What now?" asked Sniff, looking up anxiously from the saucepan. "Nothing," answered Moomin Troll, who didn't want to frighten him still more. "I'm going to talk to the muskrat for a bit." The muskrat was still lying in his hammock and thinking. "Good afternoon, Uncle Muskrat," said Moomin Troll. "Do you know that things have begun to happen?" "Nothing new in any case," said the muskrat. "Oh yes," said Moomin Troll. "Completely new. There are people in the forest making secret signs everywhere. Threats or warnings or something. When the silk monkey and I came home a little while ago, somebody had arranged Mamma's jam pears in a pattern that looked like a star with a tail." The muskrat looked at him with his shiny black eyes, twitched his moustache, but said nothing. "There is something going on," persisted Moomin Troll. "The seagulls made the same star, and so did the paths of the ants in the wood. I believe it's a secret society threatening the little animal Sniff with revenge." The muskrat shook his head. "I have every respect for your deductions," he said, "but you are wrong. Completely and absolutely without any doubt." "Oh, well, that's a good thing," said Moomin Troll. Or humph, rejoined the muskrat gloomily. "Of course it's all the same to me, but I must admit I feel a trifle gratified that my foreboding was correct." "What do you mean?" asked Moomin Troll. "That something unnecessary is going to happen." The muskrat brooded silently, his forehead creased with wrinkles. "Do you know what a star with a tail means?" he asked at last. "No," said Moomin Troll. "It's a comet," said the muskrat. "A glowing star that flashes through the empty black space beyond the sky, trailing a fiery tail behind it." "Well, strike me pink!" exclaimed Moomin Troll, and his eyes became black with terror. "Will it come here?" "I have not yet considered that point very deeply," answered the muskrat. "Perhaps it will come, perhaps not. It's all the same to a person who knows that everything is unnecessary." Moomin Troll looked up at the calm grey sky and thought how everydayish it was. "But all the same," he muttered, "I don't like it. I don't like it at all." "Now I think I shall go to sleep," said the muskrat. "Run off and play, my child. Play as long as you can." Moomin Troll hesitated. "Just one more thing," he said. "Is there anybody who knows a little more about the habits of comets? Someone who knows if this one will hit the earth or not?" "Well, the professors in the observatory on the Lonely Mountains ought to know that," said the muskrat. If they know anything at all, that is. But now run away and leave me in peace." Moomin Troll went off, deep in thought. "What did he say?" asked Sniff, who was waiting around the corner. "Was it really a secret society?" "No," said Moomin Troll. "And not one of those sky monsters either?" asked Sniff anxiously. "Not a scorpion or a bear?" No, said Moomin Troll. "Don't worry about it any more." "But why are you looking so serious?" Sniff asked. "I'm thinking," said Moomin Troll. "I'm thinking about you and me going on an expedition that will be the longest we've ever had. We are going to find the observatory on the Lonely Mountains and look at the stars through the biggest telescope in the world. And we had better go as soon as possible." I'm going to leave it there because I've got fish fingers and I haven't eaten them yet. So I'm going to give you lots of love and look at your little comments. If she had an audiobook, was really great. I agree. Give that woman an audiobook. Thank you for listening. Look at you. It's really lovely to see you. Oh, there's a Finn listening. We've got the real deal going on. You're all gorgeous. It's really nice. Hello, Tennessee. Good night. Thank you so much. It's lovely I feel much less frightened of you than I did last week. And we're going to do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if that's all right with you. So I'll see you again on Wednesday. And I give you a massive kiss. And one of my patented COVID-19 cuddles. And take care of yourselves. And lots of love. And I'm going to go now. Goodbye.